Jarrod, there's a lot of nice trophies around here and accomplishments, and I think if they gave out a medal for resilience, you'd have one hanging up here as well. Can you believe that after all this time, you're still here playing first grade, still grinding away?
Not really, mate. I mean, yeah, it's always in the back of your mind that you want to keep going and you're still enjoying footy. Well, you don't ever think it out loud or say anything. You're sort of in the back of your mind, it's always going, oh, I don't know if I'll get back there or not. I'll just see how we go and see how the body is and all that. But, yeah, so far it's been pretty good. You
were playing New South Wales Cup and then there was a conversation this year where a bunch of senior guys went to Ricky and said, we want Jarrod Croker back in the team. How did that make you feel?
Yeah, it felt very special. Yeah, look, I'd known... probably for, the week before even a couple of the boys asked and all that and then asked me and I was just ready to go whenever I could. Your Josh Papalis and your Jack Whitens and your Jordan Rapiners and those guys are blokes that I've spent my whole footy career with and, half of my life with. For them to come out and, say something to someone like Stick especially, to say that, to know that they've got me back and they want me back in there, it's pretty special.
How confident were you that not only you could come back and survive, but then also contribute to Canberra performances, considering the years that you'd had?
Yeah, look, I hadn't played for a long time and I'd seen so many of these young kids come through and, how quick the game was and you see the boys, how tired they are and how tough the game is and all that. So I was a little bit nervous, I must admit. I was, probably this, one part that was a bit of a saving grace. Playing against the Broncos at Suncorp, I think they were undefeated in front of 40,000 and we had Jack and Taps didn't play. No one expected us to win, so it didn't really, there wasn't a lot of pressure on me, if that makes sense. So to go up there and get that win and, it's tough. You always say you want to come up against the best and to be the best, you've got to beat the best and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, well, we've got the Broncos, no one's expecting us to win, let's just go there and enjoy it. And marking Katoni Staggs is not easy either, so that didn't help the nerves. But look, we got up there and put in a good effort and got the win.
How's the body feeling now that you're getting back into it and getting used to regular first grade again?
Yeah, it's a lot better than I thought it would have been. Obviously, the first couple of weeks were pretty tough to get over. Training these days too. It's training's very hard through the week. That's probably the bit for me, just making sure I'm up, because there's no days now where you go into training and you just cruise through it, kick up. It's every day is intense. We've got our meters and our stats and all this stuff to get through. I remember the first game back in against the Broncos, it was like, well, let's play every game like it's your last because you don't know when it's going to be. So that's what been my theory for the last couple of weeks, and getting back to probably the first 2 or 3 weeks, the lungs were pretty gassed and the legs, and I'm starting to feel a lot better in games, just physically getting through those games. I know the stats now, the GPS bloke, the new bloke come up and mentioned that our stats are quite high, our numbers, as opposed to what I'd been used to ever. I think we're doing another 1.5, 2Ks a game to what I'd done my whole career, so it took a few weeks to get used to that as well.
Coming back set you on a path to 300. I want to get to that a little bit later, but I want to go back first and come back to where it all started. So a young Jarrod Croker growing up in Goulburn, playing footy, what was it like?
Cold. It was a bit like down here, but yeah, look, that was all I ever wanted to do, was play footy, and I know that's every kid's dream, but I was the same. We lived next to the soccer fields, and I was over there every afternoon kicking goals over the soccer goalposts and playing footy with all the neighbours and cricket in summer. That was my life growing up as a kid in Goulburn, and I was very lucky to. Goulburn's such a strong area for rugby league, and still is now. We've seen a lot of players come out of Goulburn, and I was very lucky to be a part of a good community in Goulburn that gave me every opportunity as well.
Jarrod, this is pretty cool. The man cave. Talk me through what we've got in here.
Yeah, a bit of everything, mate. Been lucky over time to add jerseys and boots and obviously a lot of horse racing stuff and a few bits and pieces here and there, and yeah, plenty of memories down here, mate.
How'd you get into the racing?
As a kid, just always, every Saturday arvo, Dad was going for a beer and a bet. It always interested me watching the races, and then once we started, we bought a horse in a trotter in 2012 12 or 13, I think it was. I'm JT, it was called, and he came over and won 6 races straight, and I thought, how easy is this? And there, from then on, it's been, I couldn't even tell you how many we've turned over, how many horses. We've got a fair few at the moment. It's obviously pretty, away from footy, it might seem like just horse racing, but to me, it means a lot. It's, my mates, it's my best mates a lot. One of my best mates' livelihood is the trotters and the racing as well. So it does, it does mean a lot apart from just the racing side of it.
You were captain at like 24, maybe 25 years old. That's pretty early to be thrust into an NRL leadership role. These days it might be a bit more common, but back then it probably wasn't. Yeah. Were you ready for it then?
I knew I wanted the job, but also that, I probably wasn't ready for it at the time. I know it was just when Sia Soliola had just got to the club, and Sia was sort of the bloke who was going to do it, but I think Sia actually wanted me to do it, and he was just there to help. And Sia's still at training now helping me. That's how long it's gone. That's how long ago that was. I got in there and done what I could and done what I thought was right, and I learned a lot along the way. It took me a long time. It took me, I had guys like Shillo and Tom Leroy, Lars and Tilsey and that I was telling what to do. They played for Australia and the club for a long time and that, and not telling what to do, but I was a captain, you know what I mean? It's a job I never take for granted, and a job it's at the top of the list.
What's the biggest thing you think you've learned over that time? It's been almost a decade?
Yeah, delegating, and not captains aren't about blokes who just stand. And I'm not a big public speaker by any means. Captains aren't about blokes standing up and just pointing and barking. It's knowing when to speak and what to say at the right time, and having other blokes. You need help. So I think having Sia there that time, and then Hodgie come to the club really helped me out. I mean, they built me up as a leader. And then when Hodgie and I become co-captains in 2019, initially I hated it. I was like, oh, you don't want to share the job. I love Hodgie, but you don't want to share the job. But it turned out to be, a masterstroke really. We went to the grand final that year, and like I said, Hodgie and I are great mates. Still to this day, we still talk all the time and whatever. And we actually worked off really well together because Hodgie's that passionate, angry, like blow up. He's got that in him.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, good cop, bad cop. And I'd say, some days we need to rock it, and some days we just need to relax. And me and Hodgie worked really well on that. So.
Reading articles about you, and leading up to your 250th, I think there was even a quote of, I've had good luck with injury. Yeah. That was your 250th. It's not that long ago. Yeah. And it all kind of has turned in the last couple of years in terms of bad luck with injuries. So where did it first start to kind of take that dive?
When COVID first hit, really. I knew at the back end of that 2019, the grand final season, a bit of a sore knee and this and that, and just wear and tear, and going into that season, a few little hiccups in the pre-season, just getting sore, and I thought, it is what it is. Then we had the COVID break, and then that's when we had to do all the home stuff and the gym stuff, and when you're allowed to, you had to go on a road run and stuff like that just to keep fit. And I just remember going on these road runs, going, oh, my knee's not, I can't be running around on roads and that. And then that 2020 year just got worse and worse. We played the Roosters, I think it was one of the Morris boys, 300th game or something down here, and they beat us. And I remember just landing on my shoulder going, oh, that's not good either. And it was just something annoying. And then we got to the prelim against Melbourne, and the very first tackle of the game, I think it was on Branko Lee. I just remember hitting my shoulder and going, oh, that's real bad. This is on top of, trying to nurse the knee for the back end of that year. And then, went in, not thinking it was that bad, went in on the Tuesday, and then, you've ripped all your labrum and your bicep and all this, and you need a full reconstruction. I went, oh, shit, that's not good. And then had the reconstruction, got through all that. I got back around 3 or 4 or something, and played a handful of games. And then had a niggle again and missed a couple, and it was just sort of just starting to unravel a little bit. We got to the bubble and had a few games there, and I think I got knocked out, come off at Sunny Coast, and then that's when Stick called me the week later, or a couple of days later in the bubble, and he mentioned, he goes, mate, you sure you want to keep going here?
Was there initial reaction like, oh, are you writing me off? Or no,
I was...
Stuff for you? Like, what's the initial reaction?
Yeah, it was. I was surprised. But like I said, looking back at it now, I can understand why he said it. I thought he said come over and coffee with me. I said, right, no worries. Thought he'd be... I didn't expect that anyway. Last thing I expected, and it wasn't I didn't get up and tell him to beat it. I just said, oh mate, I hadn't even thought about that. Like, it's hasn't been on my mind at all. Like, it's I want to try and do this, and I mentioned this stuff we spoke about, and I thought, well, if he thinks I'm at that point, then I'm probably at that point. I need to do something, otherwise, you know, it's just not going to work.
I didn't want to disrespect Jarrod Croker's profile for what he's done for this club, but I had to try and get him back to where he was today. But his persistence, his grind, it's all credit to him.
What about the negativity around it all? Because you probably haven't had much negative press in your entire rugby league career, but then when all this happened, all the outside noise was, surely Jarrod Croker's done. Like, there's just too many injuries. Is he going to be back? Did you ever see any of that? Did it motivate you?
Not really. I mean, I was saying it until about 4 or 5 weeks ago. What's he still doing floating around in New South Wales Cup? And then all of a sudden, the back slap was a back sort of thing. But it is what it is. It's a part of the game. I get why people say it. I don't even have to tag me in it sometimes. But
well, amongst the horse racing memorabilia, you might find a few
jerseys,
a few mementos of your career. Look at some of the jerseys as well, and kind of, do they take you back?
Yeah, and they're special, mate, because I never played rep footy, mate. Country was special to me. City country. I loved playing city country, and the All Stars were my first real go at playing with. I got to play with Cameron Smith and guys like that. Whereas I didn't get to play Origin or Australia or those sorts of things. Like, I got to go to Papua New Guinea. I had to, I really embraced those opportunities. Probably not knowing, but thinking, well, these are rep jerseys to me. They're still up on the wall for a reason for me.